Um, Welcome to our first episode of Laces Out podcast. We're here to talk about some football. Let's get it going.
Yeah, it's your boys Juan Tello,
Yes,
Ron.
sir. And we got Tyler over
Hey,
here.
I got my man Justin Lieutenant Dan Cooper here. Let's get into it.
Man, first we're going to talk about, I don't know, I'm still on that dang game, man. The Baltimore game.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah. Go ahead.
it's crazy, man. It's crazy how we can we're so good, but yet we're so bad at the same time, man.
Yeah, it seems like Baltimore this year has had pretty significant leads. Just gonna get one.
And I blame the defense, man. The coordinator, we got a bunch of young guys on defense. So, I mean, we got some holes that we need to fix there, man. But if we can just build our chemistry and get everything going, I feel like we can get on a roll because our offense is playing really good. So how you think how you think Carolina doing over there?
Trash.
Man, yeah, that's a sore subject in this house.
Yeah, we're not gonna we're gonna try to talk about other teams.
Carolina is in a rebuild. Is in a rebuild. Have been for several years. There's talks of trading. Robbie Anderson's already gone to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I did see that. Hey, shoot, we just signed Deshaun Jackson, man. I mean, he's on the practice squad, but let's see if he gets moved up and make a change for our offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the Eagles.
Yeah.
The Eagles are on fire this year.
Oh yes, most definitely, dude. Like,
But go ahead.
But see the way I see the Eagles, man, like I said, they're doing great. I mean, they got all these. I mean, they have picked up all these guys in the offseason and stuff like that, and I think it was worth the money that they spent.
What about my man Cooper Rush though, man? Like, what do you think his future is in the NFL? You know, he's been beast mode for the Cowboys. Like, for a backup quarterback, he has definitely done his job.
Man, I think he's got starting potential, man. Like, okay, when that went out, they didn't think they were gonna go nowhere. But the way Cooper Rush has been playing, me personally, I say keep him in because what if Dak comes in and he doesn't play like he's supposed to? Because let's be real.
I think Dak might be out of a job.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Because I mean, he's playing good. Yeah, he didn't beat the Eagles, but prior to that game, that man has been putting up stats and he's been winning.
If the Eagles were 6-0, 5-0, or 6-0, and he come in and actually made a game out of it, there's nobody else in the NFL that would have made a game out of it like he did. They didn't get the shit beat out of them. They were right there with the Eagles.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, at first it was kind of a gap, but they started to come back and they started to do their thing. So, like I said,
I'll give you my take on Cooper Rush. I think that when he's healthy and able to come back, that Dak's going to come back. He's a franchise quarterback. The Cowboys aren't going to lose him, which is going to leave Cooper Rush in this weird limbo where he is. You're right. He's a starting quarterback. And I think that he's going to go to the highest bidder, a team that needs a starting quarterback.
Like the Panthers.
Should have down pick him up.
No, we could pick him up though if we trade McCaffrey, which is going to happen. We'll have a little salary cap to play with. You know what I'm saying? If we trade McCaffrey, our salary cap will open up a little bit.
yeah, because Dak's supposed to come back this week, and like I said, at the end of the season, I mean, y'all could probably pick him up in Carolina. I mean, y'all can use him. I mean, he would be a good pickup for y'all, and y'all pick up some wet offensive weapons. Instead of just trading Robbie Anderson for God knows why.
Because he decided to walk off the field and act a fucking fool and tell the coach. He tried to tell the coach how to coach the game, and the coach kicked him off the field.
We traded Robbie Anderson for 2 draft picks for 2024 and 2025.
Dang, so y'all won't even get picks for another
for 2 more seasons. So not the next season, but the following season.
That's crazy, dude.
Which just goes to show you, Robbie Anderson is, in my opinion, is not an elite wide receiver.
He's washed up.
Yeah,
he's mediocre.
I mean, like just like yeah, he has his moments. I'm not saying he's the best or top
Oh, he's
five,
mediocre.
He's
but
no Antonio Brown, or
yeah,
he's no Odell. He
Oh,
doesn't
hell no.
he doesn't make star plays. He's a workhorse. You can rely on him if you have a quarterback to throw to him.
But you should be able to rely on any fucking wide receiver if you got a quarterback.
Yeah.
A quarterback can take a wide receiver.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Speaking of Odell, where do y'all think he gonna wind up at?
I don't know.
They were talking about I heard on the radio a couple days ago that he may go to the Chargers.
That wouldn't be that bad of a fit, him and Justin Herbert. But I also seen a thing on Instagram or whatever, saying that he might go to the Chiefs too. I mean, they're
The Chiefs need a new. Yeah, they need like a star wide receiver like that.
because the only
Man,
guy
what?
the only
That's
guy
a
that
liquidation over there.
yeah, the only guy they really got right now is Travis Kelce, and I mean they got other receivers. They got good receivers, but they don't. They're missing that Tyreek Hill, that speed. Yeah,
Exactly.
If they if they got Travis Kelce, Odell, and Pat Mahomes, it's over. I'm gonna tell you what. If McCaffrey goes to the Bills, everybody better look out. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Josh Allen and McCaffrey by themselves with the O line is dangerous.
almost that. Shoot, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs by itself is dangerous, man. Imagine if they added a top tier running back like McCaffrey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And listen, he can play. He can play slot, tight end, wide receiver. McCaffrey is versatile. You know what I'm saying? He can catch the ball. He can do anything.
There's just one real question though: can he stay healthy enough to be able to do all that?
When you're not using somebody 90% of the time, like Carolina's running him to death. We haven't listen, he has been ran to death since 2000 and what, 18, 19, since he came. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they've done nothing but use him. And when Cam was there, Cam would run that RPO, and part of the time Cam would run the ball. So when you take Cam out of the equation, now you got McCaffrey either catching the ball or running the ball 90% of the time. You have nobody else to go to. You know what I'm saying? So you can't, a running back can't do that.
It's just like how the Titans used Derrick Henry. Remember, it let him getting hurt because they were using him so much, which is fine. It's fine when you got a player that's good enough, but the more you use them, the more likely they're prone to injury. I mean, I'm not saying, McCaffrey's been injury prone, but I think I seen a stat chart not too long ago saying that they run him probably about 60-70% of the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. Like McCaffrey, in my opinion, one of the best running backs in the NFL at this time.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I think that with our O line, which we don't have, and he still averages 4 yards a carry. We don't have no O line. With the O line, and you put him on a team like the Bills, his average carry is going to be about 8 or 9 yards. I'm telling you, like, he finds the hole, he breaks tackles, and he's fucking a monster. I mean, he's hard to stop.
And he's quick.
Very quick.
Yeah. And he can stop on a dime, he can cut. I mean, I think I seen this man do a front flip in the end zone one time.
Yes, sir. All right, let's go over those. Go ahead, Juan. What do you think?
All right, man. Me personally, I think it's pretty solid. But I kind of want to move. I don't know. Let's switch Philadelphia with Buffalo. I mean, yeah, Buffalo was a top tier team, and I understand that they're probably Super Bowl with contenders. But the way the Eagles are playing, man, they playing lights out, and I think they deserve that spot. Secondly,
Okay. Yeah. I want to know who made this power ranking. This was released by the NFL. So how can the NFL see a team, the only undefeated team in the league, and still place them at second?
Yeah. I mean, that's I guess that would make sense, but
Okay,
hey, so does
but they're
Baltimore.
still
Join the
undefeated.
club.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not mad at the power ranking. I'll tell you one team who, even though their current standings, their current record does not reflect my opinion, but I think is a decent team, is the Browns.
They pretty solid. I mean, with this is coming from a Ravens fan, but that's pretty solid thing because at the end of the day, once Nick Chubb, Kareem, like they got Kareem Hunt as a backup who used to be a pretty solid freaking running back as a backup. So once they get going, man, and then they work with their play action and all that stuff. I mean, they get it going. Like, how do you feel when Deshaun Watson come back?
Oh boy. Um, I'll tell you what, Brissett, I'm not mad at. Honestly.
Word.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing pretty solid. I mean, their record doesn't show, their record doesn't reflect on it, but other than that,
But then, so give me 1 second. And so I'm going to go through these games that the Browns have already played. Obviously, they played Carolina 26-24. Coming from a Carolina fan, we're a bottom tier team.
I mean, they play pretty solid teams too.
That the Browns are Super Bowl contestants this year, but definitely within the next couple years, there's something to look out for.
Most definitely, man. A team that has came out this year that no one expected, and I'm not talking. I'm talking about a New York team, and I ain't talking about the Giants. I'm talking about the freaking Jets, man. And
Yes, sir. Yes,
dude,
sir.
like Sauce Gardner. I mean, obviously they're not gonna put him in top five because he's a rookie, but I think he's playing like a top five corner.
Absolutely.
That man, I don't even think he's allowed a touchdown yet.
Yeah, the Jets are one of those teams. The Jets have been in the league a long time. And their fans have gone through a lot of struggle in being Jets fans. So I think they deserve this.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, they've been rebuilding for as long as I've been watching football.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
they finally
Exactly.
get pieces together. Let's see where it takes. I think they're gonna be a playoff team this year.
Yeah, absolutely. They continue to play at the caliber they're playing, and I agree.
Now,
I tell you who a couple weeks ago I would have also put in that playoff run that I'm not so sure about now is the Miami Dolphins.
yeah, because they're back and forth for Tua. I mean, they don't know whether
Oh man.
because at first, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, a doctor told him to retire.
Yeah, I think we could have an entire podcast about the whole Tua concussion issue. So he received a concussion, went through concussion protocol, which the Dolphins themselves, that wasn't their physician. So the NFL as a league brought in a physician who was a third party. He was cleared to play, and then in the next game, the man basically has a seizure after getting thrown to the ground. They fired that doctor. The next doctor that came in has obviously put him on IR and told him, look, I'd never step on the football field again, which I highly doubt he'll do. The man plays football for a living.
I mean, he
But
loves.
yeah,
I mean, that man, he was falling out one time. I can't remember which game it was, but he was falling out. But he still like insisted to play. He still wanted to play. I mean, football is in his blood.
yeah,
But I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, I personally believe, which a lot of other quarterbacks and certain players have done over the time, like because of injuries, is obviously if you have doctors telling you that you really shouldn't be playing. I mean, I understand that you love the game, but sometimes you just gotta put yourself first. Like, what if he goes and someone hits him the wrong way, he dies?
exactly. Or becomes paralyzed.
Yeah, I mean I think that's a bull situation. I mean, that first doctor messed up and he knew it. At the end of the day, he put that man at risk. And what if he would have got hit harder than what he did, and he got knocked out, concussed, or maybe he just up and died?
Exactly. And I mean, football, is a contact sport. I think there are, as the years progress, there are certain calls that football referees are making now that, mind you, football used to be played with leather helmets. I mean, these guys were out there clobbering each other with little to no protection at all. And I agree that some advancement needed to be made from that point. We introduced pads and all these certain changes that have improved the game. Football's a lot funner to watch now than it was then. But I do think that there needs to be a line drawn, because at the end of the day, it's a contact sport. Same as rugby or wrestling, you know. And I think there have been calls this year, such as that passing or roughing the passer call that was just made on Brady, that maybe could have just not been made, you know?
Oh yeah, most definitely, and it puts the defenders in a particular situation. Say you're on like a 3rd and 10, and you get a sack, and the defenders, I guess it puts them in a situation they don't really want to go out and hit the quarterback like they should, because at the end of the day, that's what they get paid to do: hit the
Exactly.
quarterback, get to the quarterback. But now it puts them in a tough situation to where it could be a critical 3rd down that they need to get a stop, and they sack the quarterback, and then bam, you give them a new set of yards.
Yeah, I agree, and it's to the point where I have seen calls, a roughing the passer calls. When you get a 300-pound or a 250-plus-pound defensive player running full steam, even once that ball is released from the quarterback's hand, he can't just stop on a dime. So if he's headed towards the quarterback, puts his arms out just to kind of stop himself. I've seen roughing the passers calls made where the quarterback didn't even hit the ground. It was just contact with the quarterback.
Oh
And if
yeah,
you and
most
I were in
definitely.
open field running towards each other and somebody said stop, we'd have to, you got to brace for impact. And I think it's getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, I mean, and then on top of that, the PI calls that be getting called, holding calls that be getting called or not called, and man, we need some better refs, because at the end of the day, like you said, it's a contact sport. I'm not saying go out there and kill the man on the damn field, but what I'm trying to say is, some things just shouldn't be called.
Yeah, absolutely. So face masks, horse collars, those are the kind of things. By all means, please call them. What Sean Payton did with the New Orleans Saints, where he was targeting players, by all means, call those things. But there are certain things that just, at the end of the day, it's football. We're here playing some football.
Yeah, nothing wrong. Like you said, I mean, it's funner to watch now. I mean, I wasn't alive back then, but it's funner to watch now than the way it was. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the competition gets better as the time goes on. And
Yes, ma'am.
there ain't nothing wrong with that. And like you said, there ain't nothing wrong with calling certain plays. Now, the rougher than passing play, I would understand if he had already thrown that ball and he gets hit afterwards. But when you going down for a sack, even if you're going down for, if I'm not mistaken, if you put your body weight down on them, that's the roughing the passer. But like you said, if you got a 300 pound dude, he's not just gonna be able to even if he's going down, he can't just stop his body weight from going
Exactly.
down to the ground. I mean, that's just not possible.
That is exactly right.
I mean, it's just crazy how the NFL has became with all these rules. Which I get it, they do it for player safety, but at the same time, it's contact. You're gonna expect contact. I mean, that's no way around it.
Most of these men in the NFL have been playing football since Pop Warner, 5 years old.
It's definitely.
They know how to take a hit.
That's all it come down to. I mean, most definitely, I believe that. Yeah, they ain't make it to the NFL for no reason.
I'll put it to you like this: a couple weeks ago, I know a group of middle-aged men that were playing full contact football with no pads, shirts getting ripped, shoulders getting dislocated,
That's
and
why
there were
I
no
would say
referees in sight.
no flags in sight.
That's right.
I think I broke someone's shoulder.
Goodness gracious, I know Mikey about killed me. Dude, it was the ribs, the shoulder. I still can't work right.
Brandon, oh, all right, I
Do
got
we see the Giants stay in number 5? Tell me what you think, Juan.
I'm gonna be honest, maybe. Because they have played some tough people. I mean, they beat Green Bay in London, which everyone, like I said, everyone thought they were going to lose. Everyone thought they were going to lose against us, and they came out and proved us wrong. But here's the real question, though. Do you think Saquon Barkley is going to stay healthy all season long?
Oh, dude, in my opinion, at the moment, if not number one, he's at least the number 2 running back in the league.
Most definitely.
I have the Giants' schedule pulled up. Next, they play the Jaguars. That's a dub. Then they go to the Seahawks. I'd give them a 74% chance of winning that. They play the Texans. That's a win. They play the Lions. That's a win. They play the Cowboys. Let's see. Considering,
We'll get there when we get there.
yeah, you got to take the Cowboys.
But Seattle, though, Seattle's been playing all right, too, now. Geno Smith, man, that man's showing he can still ball. But yeah, back to the Giants. Like I said, as long as Saquon can stay healthy, I believe that they can make it to the playoffs. I mean, I believe the NFC East is probably going to send at least 3 teams to the playoffs. The Commanders, they're iffy, but I know at least 3 of their teams are going to go to the playoffs.
Is Daniel Jones a playoff or Super Bowl caliber quarterback?
I don't think so.
Me either. I don't.
He's not bad, and I'm not saying he's bad or anything. I'm just saying he hasn't really proved himself. Because even now they're doing good. Their offense runs around Saquon. Saquon is the leader of their offense. I mean, they're even starting to put him in like wildcat formations. I mean, they're running. I'll do McCaffrey.
Mikey, being an Eagles fan, knows about that wildcat.
See, the thing about the RPO that the Eagles are running is it's smart because they put it's a triple option RPO basically. Because I've been watching film on like different teams, and basically, obviously he has the opportunity to run the ball. It's like an option play to begin with. He has an opportunity to hand the ball off, and if nothing's there, he can pass it. But obviously, if you can't pass it or run it, it makes it easy for Jalen Hurts just to go in. And on top of that, as a defender, you don't know what to defend at that point because you when you're normally like a cornerback or linebacker, you have the part on the defense that you play. All right. So as you're a corner and you're guarding the wideouts, obviously you're not really gonna jump on the run like that, but you gotta stay in your assignment. Because if you lose your assignment, it's gonna leave someone wide open. But if you're doing your assignment perfect, and obviously you have your guy covered, and they stop that run, Jalen Hurts can easily pull it. I mean, he's fast. I mean, he's quick, so he can easily pull it and just run right into the end zone or wherever they're at. So
yeah,
I mean,
I'm not an Eagles fan, but I am a Jalen Hurts fan.
I like Hurts.
Yeah, I like the way he plays ball.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, I think he's gonna make the playoffs. Super Bowl, that probably be another topic, but I believe that they're gonna make the playoffs 100%. Now, they might make the Super Bowl, to be honest. I mean, I'm not too sure, but it's like I always like to believe it's never how you start the season; it's always how you finish it. Because something can happen, and maybe they crash, something might not, and they make the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, because when they get to the playoffs, they're gonna play top tier playoff teams. So we'll see. We'll see about that when we get to the playoffs. I believe they're gonna make it. Most definitely, they're gonna make it. I mean, they're already 6-0. I mean, ain't no way you missing the playoffs unless they lose the rest of the games.
True. Top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Give me a list, Juan.
A list?
Yeah.
All right. Right now we got Josh Allen. This is in no particular order. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. I still got to go with my boy Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, and I really don't have a 5. I mean, we can always go with Tom Brady. I mean, you can't forget him out. But the way he's been playing lately, I don't know. Not this season. Maybe all time. If we had an all time list, but this season, I don't know about that one. Yeah, we could. I mean, Cooper Rush. I mean, he's been balling.
I think Cooper Rush would be my 5. Honestly, I agree with your top 4, and Cooper Rush would be my 5th.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. I hope Dallas knows what to do with him, because if they end up letting him go or something, he might go to the Commanders.
Oh, should Cooper Rush be given another chance to start after throwing 3 interceptions against the Eagles? I think the better question is how to face an undefeated team with a defense like the Eagles has. 3 interceptions. I mean, that's a terrible stat for any quarterback. But if you look at the other stats throughout that game and the final score of that game, and to think that 5 games ago this man was sitting on the bench, I think he did a good job. I think that anybody playing the Eagles on the hot streak they're on right now may have had a worse game than he did.
Most definitely, man. 3 interceptions, it's a learning point. All he got to do is get back into the film room, whether he starts or Dak starts, get back into the film room. So when his next opportunity comes, he would understand what to do. He would understand the decisions that he made was poor. I mean, at the end of the day, all quarterbacks are gonna make interceptions. I mean, make bad decisions, bad throws, and stuff like that. Like, I know this ain't on topic, but look at Lamar. When we play Pittsburgh, he throws about 2 to 3 picks a game, but he's still considered a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, today mistakes happen and they keep going. But on to the next question. Do you think the Jets are making a strong playoff run, or are they a season or 2 away from being there?
I think with the NFL, it's just like anything else. It comes with the day, you know. Right now, if the season were to end and the playoffs were to begin, I don't see the Jets making it all the way to the Super Bowl. But I sure know that they'd be fun to watch in the playoffs. So I think personally, I think it's too early in the season to answer that question. Because there's still a lot of football to play, boys. It's only midway through October.
Me personally, like I said before, and I stand by it, I think they're gonna make the playoffs. I honestly see them being a first round exit, but I still think that even in that loss, they're gonna put up a good fight.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, if the Jets keep it up, they could be one of those teams that's got a good team for a few years, you know. You look at what Carolina did in 2015, taking 1 loss, going all the way to the Super Bowl and then losing. If you watch the 2015 Carolina team, you would swear that 2016 they probably came out swinging, and since 2015 we haven't had a winning season. So I hope for the Jets fan base sake that they don't end up like that. I hope that they're able to keep this strong team going.
I do too. I love to see some Jets football. I never thought I'd say that, but they're playing all right now.
I know, who would have thought John Wamble would be right,
Right? Should the Commanders consider another QB? I think so. I think, like I said, if Dallas don't know what to do with Cooper Rush, if I was Cooper Rush, I'd go to the Commanders so I can beat them twice a year. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real. Like, at the end of the day, that's what I would do if I was in his position. But like I said, let's see what Dallas knows what to do. They have all the keys, and if that comes back and he's not playing like he should, or he's not playing good, I say go ahead and put Cooper Rush in the rest of the season, see what he does, and think about other decisions for that, whether they want to trade him or release him.
Yeah, I think for that question, I mean, ask the Eagles from what 2016 to 2020, or the Colts. I mean, ask anybody how they fared with Carson Wentz.
Does Lamar deserve the money he wants? I'm gonna be honest. I might be a little biased on it. Yeah, I do. I mean, think about it. I mean, this man, when he first came in, we were already 3-5 that season in 2018 with Flacco under center. But since he has taken over, We won the North that year. We've had nothing but winning seasons except last year. But respectfully, he did get hurt. We started out 8-2 with him. We started 8-2 with him. So our offense is nothing without Lamar, and I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Yeah, we got Andrews and Devin Duvernay's been stepping up this year, but at the end of the day, our offense is catered to what Lamar Jackson can do.
All right, yeah. So first point, I got 2 points for this question. First point, because you brought up Duvernay. If anybody from our fantasy league is listening, he's up for sale. Second point, yeah, I agree. I think that they should give that man whatever he wants, because the fact of the matter is, if Baltimore doesn't, somebody else will. And do you really want to be a Baltimore team going against Lamar Jackson, you know?
Oh, no. I mean, especially, and on top of that, I mean, imagine him, because like I said, Tua, we don't know how long he's going to be here. Imagine if he went to Miami with Tyreek Hill and all, you know what I'm saying? I would love to keep him in Baltimore. I'm glad I've been able to watch the greatness that he brings to the team. I mean, think about it. When that man steps on the field, he is probably the most dangerous athlete out there on that field, because at the end of the day, he's just gonna make your favorite defender look stupid.
Absolutely. And you've also got to look at it. At the end of the day, the NFL is a business run like any other. When certain teams have certain players, when the Patriots had Tom Brady, when Carolina had Cam Newton, even when Carolina brought back a mediocre at best Cam Newton, fans showed up to stands, to stadiums, and spent money to see those players. And will Baltimore be able to draw in the fan base without players like Lamar?
That's
Well, he
tough.
really pays for himself at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. It is a business, and one thing that he does got to understand too, which don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Lamar fan, but I get it from a business's standpoint. You don't want to give him 250 million guaranteed and
Yeah.
hurt or something, and then you basically still got to pay that man his money whether he's playing or he's not. So I mean, I get where they're coming from, but I also get where Lamar's coming from, because he's been, even this year, our record, but that man has been balling out. I mean, for our first couple of games, he was throwing about 3 TDs a game. Yes, he has struggled, but in the last couple of games, but to be fair, our defense didn't, hold up the way it should have, and we were winning in all of our losses. And it's crazy. It still blows my mind that we blew them blue leaves. But at the end of the day, the better he does, it's only gonna bring his price up at the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely. Let me ask you this question. So, I know Patriots fans that have been lifetime Patriots fans that are also Tom Brady fans. So they continue to be Patriots fans, but they'll also kind of behind closed doors cheer for the Buccaneers because they're cheering for Brady. If Lamar Jackson goes to another team, will you continue to be a Lamar fan?
At the end of the day, I'm gonna stay a Baltimore fan. But yes, me personally, I would still like Lamar, because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna talk bad about him for chasing his money. He got bills to pay too. I mean, he probably got more money than me, obviously. But at the end of the day, you can't hate a man for chasing that bag. That's all it comes down to. I would still be a Lamar fan, and I would still be a Baltimore fan. Like when Flacco left, I thought I was, I didn't know what to do without him. But when we got Lamar, at the end of the day, I was just, I'm still a Ravens fan at the end of the day. I mean, I'm still gonna watch Lamar and wait what he does, but I still got.
Speaking of being loyal to not only your team but players, and tying it back into the Ravens, Steve Smith, Carolina Panthers, pretty undoubtedly our best receiver, maybe one of the best receivers that's ever stepped foot on the NFL football field. When he went to the Ravens, I cheered for that man on the Ravens. I was a Carolina fan at the end of the day, but I had a devotion to Steve Smith as well because I just enjoyed watching him play.
That's
So I think, I think even though you can continue to be a Baltimore fan, worst case scenario, Lamar goes to another team. As long as he's not in your division and as long as you're not playing him in the season, I think you're still allowed to cheer on Lamar,
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, if he goes to another team, even if we play them, yes, I'm gonna want him to do good against us, but at the same time, I'm gonna have to root against it because I need my boys to win. But at the,
Yeah.
I don't care if he goes to the Super Bowl with another team. I'll be proud of him because that's what he came to the league to do. That's what he
Yeah.
told Ravens that he was gonna get us. Yes, we haven't had that playoff success yet, but it is only a matter of time. Like look at guys like Peyton Manning. It took him a while to get his first playoff win. So I look at it like that, and I believe it's going to come soon. It might even be this year. We might turn our season around. You never know.
Would be. Yes. Yeah, but Carson Wentz isn't the caliber of player and didn't give you what Steve Smith gave Carolina or what Lamar has given the Ravens or what Brady gave to the Patriots. You know,
You're
to
absolutely
be to be a Patriots fan in the last decade, you have to be a Tom Brady fan. You know.
most definitely. Yeah, that man. I was only born in '99. I ain't been a Patriots fan, but I basically watched that man play football since I was a kid. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
yeah,
There's people in the league now that play against Brady that watched him growing up.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, look at these the next draft class that's coming up. I mean, if Brady don't retire, they probably did the same thing that we did, watch him grow up playing and stuff like that. Could you imagine being a football player and playing, watching this man your whole life from the moment you first step foot on a football field to be one of his teammates or playing against him? Like, imagine the feeling that them players probably go through.
Yeah, the man is the GOAT. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I mean, I give him that. It's hard to win in the NFL, especially in the playoffs, because it ain't like the NBA, the MLB, or none of that, because they get more chances. Playoff is basically sudden death. You lose one, and you're
Yeah,
home.
one and done. All right,
So,
Mike, what's your next question?
what needs to happen for your team to turn their season around? I'll let you start this one off, Tyler.
Oh man, I was hoping you would just talk for a minute. You know, I don't, I, I don't know. You know, I almost want to plead the fifth on this question. I think we have everywhere: O line, defense, down to our coaching. I even think our owner, and I mean that's not something you can't just trade your owner. Um, but, but everywhere, top to bottom, front office, back office, in the field. I mean, I even think our water boys need to be traded. We just need a total rebuild, and we've been in this stage for years now, for 4 or 5 years.
Basically, since the last time y'all was in the Super Bowl.
Exactly, and that's what I was saying earlier was that we had one of the best on paper, one of the best seasons that an NFL team's ever had. To go 15-1, go to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's something that we're in the elite amongst doing. And then the next year we just fell apart and have continued to unravel. So I don't really have an answer to that question, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. Because that year y'all went 15-1. Not many teams have done that. I mean, there's been a
No.
couple throughout history, but not many people have done that. Especially the stats that y'all had put up.
Yeah.
Even in Lamar's fifth MVP season, we only went 14-2. I mean, that's still just as good. But y'all, I mean, but me personally with Baltimore, I think our defense needs to step it up. I mean, I understand we got a lot of young players on defense. The only veterans that we have in the DB section is Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey. Everyone else, I mean, Chuck Clark's got a couple years, but other than that, everyone's always either first or second year, and maybe Calais Campbell on the line, and a couple other people, here and there. And then with this year, we're just getting a new defensive coordinator, and obviously we need time to. I mean, I know we had all off season, but we still need time. It's different when you're in game. We need time to adjust to what he's trying to do and play. Because when we had Wink Martindale, we played a lot of man coverage, which it worked. Because I think with Wink Martindale, we had a couple of top 5 defenses back to back years. So whatever he did work. I think that we need to switch from zone. Unless you know what you're doing, but switch from zone, going back to the man coverage and blitzing style. Because if we can do that or step up our defense, our offense is good enough to put up the points that's needed. We have proven that even against teams like Miami with Tua or Buffalo with Josh Allen, we were beating both of those teams by 20 points. I think the Bills was 17 and the Dolphins 21 points. But we need to be able to close out the games instead of just letting it go and stuff like that. We closing out. That's our biggest issue.
Imagine having the Ravens offense that you have now with the Ravens defense of Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed. That would
Dude,
be the dream team.
it would be Super Bowl bound. I
Yeah,
promise that.
you would win it for 5 years straight.
That would be Super Bowl.
Just quit the NFL. They wouldn't even want to play again.
I'm saying that we would be Super Bowl bound because especially the 2000s Ravens defense, which was considered one of the best defenses of all time, other than the
Absolutely.
Back when we won the Super Bowl our first time. I mean, I wasn't really old enough for that, but I do watch like old film and stuff like that, and yeah, that defense, that defense was amazing. So that defense with our offense of today, Super Bowl bound all day. Got one question. I'm pretty sure it's up here, but I do got one question that hasn't shown up yet. Would you rather take, since we're on the topic, Lamar Jackson today, Lamar Jackson of today, or Michael Vick in his prime?
Oh, I think honestly, I would take Michael Vick. I think if you brought prime Michael Vick to the 2022 NFL season and dropped him in any team, he'd perform the way Michael Vick did in the early 2000s. If you brought Lamar Jackson to Michael Vick's early 2000s NFL and dropped him in any team, I can't tell you that Lamar Jackson would have the success that he does now, because defensive players were a lot bigger and a lot meaner and hit a lot harder back then, dude. This was before. This was the Wild West. This goes back to what we were talking about is the NFL getting too soft. I mean, Lamar's playing under this new flag happy NFL,
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but here's my take on it. Because here's my take on it. Again, like, yes, they used to hit harder. They used to be a lot huger than what they are now. But also the skill gap as time goes on, in my opinion, it's all opinionated. I think the skill gap gets better. Yes, we're in a softer league than what we were back then, obviously. I mean, I've seen plays where Brady used to get rocked, but now if you touch him, it's a flag. But at the same time, if you actually watch, I'm not saying you don't, but if you watch Lamar play, and when he takes off, how many times does he really get hit? Because that man is so elusive and slippery that he rarely takes a hit. And I understand as a running quarterback you're prone to more injuries because you run so much. But in the 5 years that he has been playing, he's only been hurt once. And the one time he did get hurt, he was in the pocket. So every time that man takes off, he just doesn't get hit. And on top of that, when we do the options and stuff like that, a lot of the times he runs it close to the sideline, so where if he does feel like he's about to take a big hit, he just steps out. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. I mean, Michael Vick had a cannon, especially as an arm, and he had good accuracy with it, probably better than what Lamar has. But Lamar is still progressing. His passing this year is better than his MVP season.
Oh, I agree. Michael Vick also had a passion for animals, so. What teams shocked you the most, good and bad? Well, being a Carolina fan, the bad would be Carolina, because obviously, you want your team to have a beautiful, perfect golden season every year. And I didn't really expect this to, but I didn't expect this to play this bad. The good, I'd tie it back to these Jets, man. I was not expecting that, and I still think they've got a season ahead of them.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I'm with you on the Jets. Like I said, nobody expected it. Yeah, the Giants are doing good, and nobody expected that either. But the Jets, man, like, when was the last time they actually did something? And my bad would have to be the way the Packers are playing. I mean, yeah, I understand that they didn't get all the weapons that Aaron Rodgers wanted at receiver, which that's a big issue with them. But Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? When was the last time you ever really seen him do bad other than the NFC Championship?
Yeah.
So that's my take on that. I mean, that I don't know. That's crazy. I thought the Packers would have been something. I mean, they still got a solid defense. It's just Aaron Rodgers need more weapons. They need to instead of because last year I think they didn't draft the wide receiver. Did they draft the wide receiver last year?
I don't recall honestly.
I don't either, but I know receiver was especially after losing a guy like Devontae Adams.
Yeah, big hit to the team.
Speaking of Devontae Adams, man, how do you feel about him being on the Raiders? Do you think that he's doing good without Aaron Rodgers, or does Aaron Rodgers need Devontae Adams?
I think all peanut butter sandwiches need jelly, you know? I think the jelly left the sandwich.
Most definitely. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers is still a good quarterback, and he's obviously a future Hall of Famer. But even as good as a quarterback, like look at Brady. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he has always had great weapons around him. When like Randy Moss, Westbrook, Gronk, Edelman, all them boys, he's always had some type of top tier receiver.
Oh,
Aaron,
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers hasn't. I mean, the biggest top tier receiver that we've seen him have lately was Devontae Adams and Jordan Nelson. But other than them, I mean,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers really hasn't had nothing. So, and on top of that, he's been asking Green Bay for a while. Like, look, he needs a receiver. I mean, he's got receivers, but he needs someone that's like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was begging, literally begging. What about the Rams? Oh, dude, I was watching their game the other night and thinking that same thing. I don't understand how.
Just
and
like
they played Carolina and they won, but there for a minute we were hanging on, and I don't see how not even a year after winning the Super Bowl, you're no longer a Super Bowl caliber team.
most definitely, maybe they should have kept Odell. I mean, I know Odell comes with his problems, but so does Antonio Brown, and people, teams still gave him a chance after all that stuff that went down. But I mean, he's still a top tier receiver in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I would sign Antonio Brown right now. Yeah.
That
Von
too.
Miller. Dude, I don't even like saying the man's name.
Yeah, especially on the defense. It did take a toll on the defense because think about it. Aaron Donald's good, but you can double team Aaron Donald. But when you had Von Miller, you couldn't double team both. Then you would have no one blocking up the middle. So yeah, Von Miller was a great role to that team too. I mean, yeah, they only signed him to a year or whatever, but he was still a greatest asset to that team.
And look, we could have a whole podcast about how Peyton Manning had to go out with a ring and how the NFL is rigged, and I really believe that. But we'll save that for a later episode. That dive, Cam Newton pulling back so blatantly, but it just seems fishy.
What is your Super Bowl predictions based on how everyone's played so far? That's a tough one. Like I said, here's my NFC side. If Philly can keep it up, I think they can make a Super Bowl run. Most definitely, because the NFC, it don't look as strong as it has in the past couple of years. They still got some solid teams, but I believe that the Eagles are going to be my NFC side. Now the AFC side, that's hard to tell. Everyone's thinking Chiefs, which I'm probably thinking the Chiefs myself. But the Bills, yeah, the way the Bills are playing, and especially against the Chiefs, they did win. But Mahomes is kind of like Brady in the playoffs. That man comes out of nowhere in the playoffs. I mean, he's good all season long, but he takes it to the next level in the playoffs. I mean, that man scored with 13 seconds on the clock. Yes, he had Tyreek Hill, and he does not have that no more. So, do you still think that he can pull some stuff off like that if or without Tyreek Hill? Because that's my question.
Yeah, you pretty much answered the question for me. NFC Eagles, AFC Bills. I mean, if the season ended today, that would be my pick, and that's going to continue to be my pick until some other teams step up and show me otherwise.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, I would love it to be my Ravens, but if we can't,
Oh yeah, I mean,
if we can't continue to close out games, man, I don't think we're gonna make it. Now, hopefully, we do step it up because we got a division game this week. If the division wins, is really all that matters because you can't get into the playoffs unless you win in that division.
absolutely right.
So yeah, well, all we gotta do is figure out how to close out games, and we'll be right up there with them boys. Because even with the way we've been playing, we still got a top 5 offense.
Yeah, I'd like to save that question and ask it again about week 10.
Yeah, here's our week 7 prediction. Oh, I think the Saints are gonna take that one. Oh, D
Yeah,
Hop coming this week?
coming back this week. I give it to the Cardinals, but only by 3.
Yeah, that might make some sense. Marquise Brown's popping out, and then they got D Hop coming back. So maybe I believe. But the Saints still got a pretty solid defense, regardless of what their record is. Falcons and Cincinnati all day, man. As much as I hate to do it, because I need Cincinnati to lose, I believe Cincinnati is going to do it. As long as their line can give Joe Burrow the protection they need, Cincinnati's got it.
I agree. Cincinnati all the way.
Lions and Cowboys. That's a trick one because the Lions do have the best offense in the NFL, or one of them at least. But here's what really messes the Lions up is their defense, bro. Like, I'm going to give this one to the Cowboys. Now, it depends on how Dak plays. He's supposed to come back this week. But other than that, I might end up giving it to the Cowboys, man.
I think, and this may be a hot take, I think if Dak comes back, the Lions win that game. I think if Cooper Rush stays in, the Cowboys win the game.
Most definitely. Colts and Titans. The way the Colts have been playing, because they did start off rough. I mean, it's a trick one, but the Titans, if they can really get going too. But I'm gonna have to give this one to the Colts.
Titans are coming off a bye week, and I'm going to answer this one the same way I just answered the other one. Jonathan Taylor's still questionable. If he comes back, the Colts win. If he stays out, the Colts lose.
Versus the Commanders. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with the Packers because Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that man's a winner, regardless of what people say. I mean, yeah, he be chill and relaxed in the offseason, but at the end of the day, he is a winner, and he's already taken a couple losses. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to lose no more. And on top of that, the Commanders, yes, they won last week, but they're still not a top team to me. I mean, I think Green Bay is gonna take this one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with every point you just made.
Buccaneers and Panthers.
Oh gosh. Go ahead, Juan.
All right, man. I'm gonna have to. I'm sorry, Tyler. I know you don't want to hear it, but I have to get this to Tampa Bay because Brady, my man Brady, is going through a divorce right now. That man's got football on his mind, and on top of that, he's coming from an excruciating loss last week to a guy named Pickett. Show Brennan that, and and Trubisky. So I'm gonna have to give it to Tampa Bay.
You're gonna have to edit out my answer, but I give it to the Bucks. Honestly, I don't want. If any Carolina fans are listening, don't hold that against me. I feel like you'd answer it the same way. I think our defense. I still personally believe that our defense is top 5 in the league, if not top 3. And we're not even healthy. We've scored 3 defensive touchdowns 3 weeks in a row. Do I see us picking off Tom Brady? Do I see us getting a pick 6 from Tom Brady? Maybe. I'd like to see it, but I think defenses don't win games,
I'm gonna have to disagree on it. Sometimes it depends on how the defense is. Yes, you need your offense to score, but you can stop the other team from scoring. Say even if you get one, even if the game's only 7-0 and you get a pick, that's just off a pick 6. Sometimes defense do win games. It all depends on the situation. It's situation to situation.
Yeah, but you're playing Tom Brady. Have you ever seen Tom Brady score 0 points?
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen an offense with Tom Brady that's not at least scored a field goal.
Yeah, you got a point. I don't remember the last time he's ever done a horrible.
I really don't.
Giants and Jags. That's gonna be a good game because the Jags are playing all right this year too. I mean, I don't think the Jags gonna make it very far or when it comes to the playoffs and stuff like that, but they're still playing pretty solid. I mean, I think. Oh, I'm gonna have to go with the Jags. They gotta upset the Giants.
I'm going to give it to the Giants just because of their running back.
Most definitely. Browns and Ravens. Oh man, as
Let
much as
let me answer this one first, and then we'll get your take.
I
I'm going to tie this back to when we started this podcast, and I said that the Browns were my team to watch. I might give it to the Browns, man.
I don't want to say it depends on how they play. All right, like I said, it's a division. And on top of that, this is a division game, so it's going to be a lot tougher than you go on playing a team because they know you better than anybody else. They have played Lamar Jackson plenty of times, so I feel like they're going to obviously have a good game plan coming around for that. But it all depends on the situation. Like I said, if we can close out the game and our offense play like it's been playing, I think that we can take the Browns. But the Browns, our run defense ain't really been. But we did do a good job with Saquon, but our run defense has not been the best all year long. Our pass defense is 31st or 32nd, somewhere around that area. So I feel like it might be a bad defense. I mean, the Browns still got pretty solid defense, but I think it's going to be close. I might have to go with us, maybe by just an automatic field goal.
Okay, so you're saying low scoring game, Ravens on top, or high scoring game?
I believe it's going to be a low score. I mean, it might be a high. Let's say 2024 or 2023. You know, it's going to be a not too high, maybe middle scoring game, but I feel like it might come down to a Justin Tucker field goal.
Okay, I like that. Oh yeah, Anytime I see them boys come up in the near future, I'm picking them.
I think the Jets are gonna take this one because the Broncos really ain't been playing that good. Now don't get me wrong, Russell Wilson, like you said with the Panthers, Russell Wilson most definitely needs to turn his season around because I'm pretty sure the Broncos don't want to look like they wasted all that money on buying Russell Wilson basically just for him to play like the way he is. Which I'm not saying Russell Wilson's bad. I still think he's a good quarterback. It's just they need chemistry together because they've only been together for one season, some off season, all that stuff. But they need to build that chemistry, and then maybe they'll start getting stuff going. But other than that, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Jets.
Yep, I like that.
Texans and Raiders. Ooh, Raiders.
I think that'll probably be the worst game of the week.
Adams gonna play, or is he suspended for what he did? I have no idea. I'm pretty sure he just got fined. I don't know if he got suspended, but just in case, if Adams is there, I believe the Raiders are gonna take it. If he's not,
Yeah, I don't think any NFL fan in their right mind would pick the Texans to win.
Seahawks and Chargers. Now that's gonna be a good game because, like I said before and earlier on in the podcast, the Geno Smith is actually playing pretty good. Like a lot of people are saying that maybe Russell Wilson was the problem in his last year at Seattle, which that might be the case. But the way Geno Smith is playing, he's playing all right, and I'm gonna have to give this one to. Oh, this one's a tough one because the Chargers are pretty good too. I might give it to the Seahawks. I might give it the upset because I know the Seahawks are the underdogs here.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to give that my upset of the week. Seahawks all the way. That's right.
Chiefs and Niners. Well, for my fantasy's sake, I need Patrick Mahomes to give me a 40 piece. So I'm going to have to go with these 40. And another thing, too, yes, they haven't played a top 5 defense, but at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. That man can do anything.
Who do you play this week, Juan?
I play Sam, I think.
Yeah, I give the 49ers this one.
Steelers and Dolphins. But I don't know, man, because Tua, to me, he's still questionable. I don't think he's going to go out there and bomb these things like he was. We'll see. I'm going to call it another upset. I'm not, I don't want Pittsburgh to win. As much as I hate to say, I'm calling another upset.
I hate to say the same thing you both have picking out players from your fantasy league, but I think Tyreek's going to show up this week. I give it to the Dolphins.
Bears and Patriots. Oh, speaking of the Patriots, what do you think about that Zappy dude that came in from Mac Jones? Do you think it's going to be another Bledsoe thing?
I don't think the guy's the next Brady, but he's looking good. I'll give this one to the Patriots.
Yeah, most definitely. Hear me out though. The thing about the Bears and you seen what we did with Lamar, which I hate to say this, but at the beginning of his career, Lamar was not the best passer by far, but he can still do his thing. If the Bears would just cater their offense to Justin Fields' running game, they would have a solid offense.
Oh yeah.